Grab English.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to Coffee Talk with Chris and Luis.
How are you?
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm gonna take a sip.
That's good.
Oh God, that's fantastic.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, it feels good.
So, today's topic, we want to talk about something which Japan is known for worldwide, which is Japanese animation, aka manga.
Oh yeah, this is my jam.
I think a lot of us grew up watching Japanese animation. However, in some cases, like myself, I grew up watching it without knowing that it was from Japan.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you're talking
Right?
about. Oh yeah.
Like you just saw it and you said, "Wow, that's cool. But this is like when you're 10 or 11 years old and you don't know much about geography, so you don't know what country is which or where they are. You just saw a cartoon that was cool and you watched it and you said, yeah, without having to know the origin of the animation.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I think the very first anime I ever saw that I didn't know was anime, by the way, was the English title is Voltron. The Japanese title is a little bit longer, but the end of it is Go Lion or Go Ryan. And I loved that show so much.
It was cool. It's old school, you know.
What about you? What are some of your first animes that you didn't know were animes?
Well, growing up, I played a lot of soccer. I played it at school. I played out on the street with my friends. So there was a cool animation called Captain Tsubasa. And it was like, wow, you know, us watching it, we kind of wanted to imitate it when we were playing outside.
Game!
And they did all kinds of like incredible moves that obviously we couldn't perform.
Of course.
You know, there's the rules of gravity.
Physics are a thing, everybody.
We couldn't be flying off or jumping on top of each other and doing a scissor kick or anything. Now, when I was watching that particular animation, I did happen to notice that there was some funny writing in the background on the uniforms. It wasn't the alphabet that we use in English. It was sticks, you know? And then I thought they were a type of like hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics.
That's what I thought it were. But again, this is going back to being young and not knowing about Japan or that such a country existed, or that even worse, that these animations or these cartoons were coming from Japan.
Yeah.
But that was something that I really didn't pay attention to.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't realize either until I think I didn't realize they were Japanese like cartoons, technically, until like I was like 11. Took a while before I was like, wait a minute. Now I know where this comes from. Yeah. And I think what led me down that road was watching the first the original Dragon Ball. Not Z, everybody, but Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball
came on at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays for some reason, and I still remember the theme song and everything. I can't post the theme song on here because, you know, copyright. but I can maybe play like 4 seconds of it. So.
And having said that, what I also want to mention is me and Chris, we realized today that there's a lot of Japanese culture, or Japanese, how can I say, like things that are created in Japan that had an impact or were a part of our childhood.
Yeah.
We just mentioned the animation, the manga, Voltron over here, Captain Tsubasa. But when I was growing up, I didn't know that Sega and Nintendo were Japanese.
Yo,
I did not know. I didn't know.
I was the same way. I didn't know that Nintendo was a Japanese name for anything. Like I just couldn't get over it. Like when I found it out when I was like a little bit older. I think the reason I figured out that all these companies were Japanese was when, as the console wars continued, and I think when we finally hit like, I want to say, Super Nintendo, almost PlayStation era. That's when I was like, wait a minute, all these companies are Japanese. And I think I was reading GamePro. I was reading GamePro magazine.
Oh wow!
When I found out.
I remember.
Not Nintendo Power, everybody. GamePro magazine.
Growing up, I had I have two brothers, but one of them in particular, the older one, he's 4 years older than me. He was all into Nintendo. That was his game. That was his game console. Me, I was a Sega boy.
Right? Oh, that sounds like a fight.
It was a battle.
Sounds like fights.
It was a battle. It was like, no, Nintendo rules, and I was like, what are you talking about? It's all about Sega. It's all about Sega.
Yo, you remember all the arguments in school about some kid having the Sega and another kid having like Nintendo? They would have arguments about it.
There's a never-ending war right there. Just going back and forth. Now, the one thing we did kind of agree on was like, what's up with these names? What is Nintendo? It doesn't even sound English, huh? What's Sega? Sega. Kind of thought like they felt short, or somebody who made the name kind of just said, oh, let me just put a couple of syllables together. Bang! There you go, that's a name. We saw that some of the games were being produced by, for example, Konami, and as little kids, you're like, what? What? How come this is not like Game Tech? Or how come it's not like, for example, the company that produced games that came out later, especially sports games, was
Ubisoft or something like that.
EA.
Yeah, EA.
EA. Okay, those we kind of understand. Oh, EA. The alphabets.
Yeah.
But when we saw those names, we did wonder about them. They were like, wow, what kind of names are these? But we never bothered to look into them.
There you go.
Until when I came to Japan the first time, me and my family, me and my relatives were roaming around in Tokyo. We came across a game center. That's what they call them out here. Back home, it'd be like the arcades. And bang! Sega. And I was like, what? I brought my childhood back, childhood memories.
Yeah.
And then, mingling with the locals, and like, oh, you guys play Sega? Oh, I played Sega when I was a little kid. Well, come to find out, Sega's from here. Sega's from Japan. What? It is?
Yeah, it blew your mind as a little kid, right?
Yeah. And then here comes, in that particular trip, my older brother was with me as well. He's like, what? Sega's from Japan? Do you guys know Nintendo? Do we know Nintendo? We invented Nintendo.
But then when Sony hit the floor.
Well. What's your take on that? I guess eventually Americans felt like
I think everyone's started understanding more about where all these different places come from as the internet grew. Once the PlayStation era happened, the internet was becoming a thing. Like, it was what, 1997, 1998.
Yeah.
Internet had just begun ramping up in the States and other places. And yeah, I'm dating myself. I'm old, okay? And when that started going up, I remember I would specifically be looking up information about these companies, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other kids were doing the same thing, and there you go. Everyone figured it out at that point. And now everyone knows exactly where everything comes from, most of the time.
Most of the time. But yeah, growing up, and I'm dating myself as well, because I'm gonna mention names like Atari.
Ooh, yeah.
Like the first Nintendo. Not even talking about Super Nintendo. The first Nintendo, that brick. That brick.
The great brick, right?
The great brick.
I had one of those too.
These are things that I guess people from our generation we grew up with, and it was just an eye opener when they came to find out that they were Japanese.
Yeah.
And so that kind of comes to show that many of us, we had some type of what would you want to call it? Japanese influence?
Yeah, it was definitely a kind of Japanese influence on how we grew up. Like even today, I still play games. They're a big part of my hobbies. It's what I do a lot of the time in my free time. Of course, I branched out from other things like Nintendo and other stuff, and I don't play as often as I used to.
Huh?
But I still do like to come home. If I want to relax, I'll go ahead and flip on a game or something like that, and I still play. They still influence me to this day. And even then, they got me interested in Japan in the first place.
I agree. Even I think when I'm going back to when we were growing up, I don't know if you can remember, but games were only played by kids.
Yeah, that's basically how it was. Yeah.
Nowadays, even adults play them.
Yeah, everyone it's now just a normal hobby that most people have.
So, but I think that just comes to show how interesting games are, and the creativity that these companies have applied to make some pretty entertaining games.
Yeah.
Never-ending games that I don't know, even 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, maybe
People of all ages can really play.
are still playing.
Yeah.
I don't mind every so often come around and okay, let's go.
So, and anyway, yeah, that will be it for our coffee talk for today. So, as usual, if you want, like, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, cheers, everybody.
See you next time.